Matt Walsh came out with what I thought was a very shocking video about his take on MAGA Republicans. It's really good. Remember, guys, I don't care if you like or subscribe at all. I just like interacting with you. So go down in the comments and let me know what you think about this video. Here it is.
You know, as I've offered my analysis of the presidential race in recent weeks, I have been denounced by some of the audience of this show, some of my followers on social media, for being skeptical of a number of the strategic choices Republicans have made. Many conservatives got very, very angry at me 3 weeks ago when I had a few critical opinions of the Republican National Convention. My criticisms that I made were seen as so blasphemous, so traitorous, that I lost something like 30,000 Twitter followers in the span of 24 hours because of that. I mean, the outrage was intense. I was trending for days because of this. And this is a couple days after Trump was shot, by the way. And yet on Twitter, one of the top trending topics wasn't that. It was that, oh, Matt said something mean about the Republican National Convention. So it's quite deafening, the outrage was for a few days. And the outrage bandwagon has revved up again, though to a lesser degree, several times since. Anytime my opinions are insufficiently optimistic and not blindly trusting of the Republican political strategy, people are getting very mad at me. Now, so if you're one of the people who thinks that my job is to do nothing but wave the pom-poms around and declare, whether I believe it or not, that Republicans are winning, everything they're doing is brilliant, Kamala doesn't stand a chance, if you're in that camp, then you probably don't want to listen to this segment. In fact,
here is why I think this video is so interesting. It's one thing to be like Kyle Rittenhouse, which if you didn't hear over the weekend, he comes out, he says he's not voting for Trump because Trump sucked, he wasn't good on the Second Amendment, and then he switches back to Trump after talking to the Trump team, and again, he just looks wishy-washy, and he goes completely against Trump. That's one thing. But it's another to offer critiques to Trump's campaign and other Republicans in order to help them win. Again, that's the important part. In order to help them win. So with Kyle Rittenhouse and other Republicans, they're actively trying to make it so Donald Trump loses. I don't even know how that makes sense that they would want Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. Like, put away your differences with Donald Trump. How do you vote for Kamala Harris if you're a conservative or even a moderate? But in any case, I've never understood, though, why Republicans have started to stoop to the cultish level of the leftists. I wrote an entire book about this, about how leftists are cults. Like, it is a cult. The progressive agenda is a cult. But sometimes when I look at the way that Republicans don't want to pivot, they don't want to change, and when they hear critiques come in, they get really defensive and cult-like. It's something that we can't have, because if we don't have one party at least fighting for the truth and conservative principles some of the time, I know that's not a monolith, but the people in their I'm not talking about the elites. The elites, the establishment, it's practically a uniparty at this point, but at least the people. If the people in the Democrat Party and the Republican Party are going completely against conservative principles, if they're going against truth, then what do we have? You're completely politically homeless at that point. And so we can't have that. So I have to say I agree with Matt Walsh. It is valid to disagree with someone's critique of the party. If you hear, like, you might hear what Matt Walsh says in his critique and be like, I really don't agree with that. I don't think that the party should adopt what you're saying. Cool, valid, fine with that. This is really what I want to get into, though. It is not valid to say you can't critique the party. It's valid to disagree with the critique. It's never valid to just say you can't critique the party. That's the cultish behavior that I'm talking about. The Republican Party has actually undergone an extraordinary change in the last few years. Since MAGA began, it's been a really positive change, in my opinion. So I'm not anti-MAGA by any stretch of the imagination. What was so positive, and this is kind of what's so important to me, what's so positive, and I think what Matt Walsh was getting to as well, about the change that Trump brought in, is Trump came in and said, hey, I've actually been a part of the elite class. I know how the politicians work. This is what they've been doing. I mean, especially on foreign policy, he talks about how they've just absolutely, like Bush screwed you. Bush and Obama were the same, right? They screwed everybody. They cost us billions and billions of dollars getting into useless wars, literally killing our sons and daughters in war. And the reason why he was so successful is because he offered some incredibly valid critiques to the Republicans, and then he reformed the party as we know it. It is a different party today than it was 20 years ago. Even Democrats will admit that. Republicans should certainly admit that, and I'm sure everybody would. So again, critiquing is what made Republicans great, and it's what turned off people from voting for progressives like Hillary Clinton. It's the reason why Donald Trump won, because he was offering this new vision. And Democrats were not. They were saying, hey, you want 4 more years of Obama or 8 more years of Obama? And people said no. But somehow we're back in this rut where for some reason you're not allowed to critique Trump. And this is how it was in the Republican Party for a long time until Trump came around. You couldn't critique the Republican Party. So why would MAGA, and I'm not even saying Trump is doing this, by the way. I'm talking about the people underneath it. I'm talking his supporters. Why would MAGA do this when this is what made America great again? And what Matt goes on to talk about is a very fair critique. By the way, he basically says we need to focus on policy and truth over celebrities and random just digs at Kamala Harris. He's saying, like, those are fine. Yeah, it's okay to point them out occasionally. Nothing wrong with that. But truth, policy, that is the big difference. And the reason why is because this isn't a moderate Democrat you're running against. It's a full-on commie. So in other words, the winning strategy is to point to the stock market this week and say, look, this is what Biden and Kamala's policies do. They tank. I mean, in the last week, the S&P has dropped 6.5%. So a very powerful pitch is just simply, you know what didn't happen during Trump? People didn't lose 6.5% of their retirement in a day. That never happened. No one has confidence in the economy right now under Biden. Under these clowns, it's absolutely crazy. That's a powerful pitch. That's a good strategy. A losing strategy, though, would be to say Kamala Harris is actually Indian and not black. Because what does that mean to the average American? No one cares. You want to know why no one cares? Because identity politics is crap, and even if it proves that she's lying or that she's facetious or she'll do whatever it takes to win, identity politics is crap. Is Kamala changing her tune on race? Sure. Did she sleep with someone to become Attorney General of California? Sure, but that's what I'm talking about random digs. Those things can be pointed out. But what people actually care about is, how do I afford a house? As someone who is in a demographic that Trump is losing big time, I can tell you that me and all my friends are wondering, how do I afford a house? So show them the policy that does that, which, by the way, Trump's policy surely will make house prices better. Prices didn't go up 30% under Trump. They went up under Biden. But Republicans they've lost that. They're not talking about it anymore. And again, if Republicans and Trump specifically will go out and show people, while Kamala is off talking with, Megan Thee Stallion and all these celebrities, the pitch is very simple. They've got their celebrities, they've got the elites. That's who they're working for. Yeah, they've got Taylor Swift, they've got Beyonce, because they're billionaires and they've got their money made. But what we're focused on is, how do we get housing prices down? How do we step out of the way so you can afford a house? And then you actually outline a good plan for that. I can confidently tell you're going to get way more people, even from young voters, than just talking about the random celebrities that supports you. Because guess what? It does nothing for me if there's a random celebrity that supports Donald Trump. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please go down below, comment, like, and subscribe, and watch another video.